Hello, everyone. Good to see you. We made it, I think. It's Easter evening here in Mililani, and I don't know what time it is. It's after 5. What is it? Oh, it's almost 6. It's almost 6 o'clock. My goodness gracious. So we made it through Easter. I got my power nap for Jesus my Easter power nap for Jesus, and I'm feeling a little resurrected now. So let me read this very unusual resurrection story from Mark. It's only 8 verses, and then I want to just reflect on that a minute. Mark 16, 1-8. When the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James, and Salome bought spices so that they might go and anoint him. And very early on the first day of the week, when the sun had risen, they went to the tomb. They had been saying to one another, "Who will roll away the stone for us from the entrance to the tomb?" When they looked up, they saw that the stone, which was very large, had already been rolled back. As they entered the tomb, they saw a young man dressed in a white robe sitting on the right side, and they were alarmed. But he said to them, "Do not be alarmed. You are looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He has been raised. He is not here. Look, there is the place they laid him. But go, tell his disciples and Peter that he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him, just as he told you." So they went out and fled from the tomb, for terror and amazement had seized them. And they said nothing to anyone, for they were afraid. For they were afraid. And that's how the Gospel of Mark ends. The women who were getting it were afraid. And they stopped doing what it is that humans do, and that's speak to each other about what matters. They were afraid. Now, Mark has a shorter ending, a longer ending, and another ending that were obviously added years later, centuries even, because the end of Mark was so awkward, anxiety-producing for so many people that they didn't quite know what to do with it in the established church, especially the church when it became the religious institution of empire. What were the women afraid of, do you think? They had been getting it, but then the game was over. Jesus was dead. They could go back to being peasants, trying to make ends meet, trying to cope, playing the game. What did this resurrection, and you notice the disciples disappeared, the 12 men disappeared in the Garden of Gethsemane. They never did come back after Peter's denial. That's why it says, tell the disciples and Peter. They vanished. The only ones left were the women who were getting it. And what were they getting? They were getting the unique situation, the situation in which Jesus was trying to find his way about. It wasn't a problem to be solved, and it wasn't an ineffable mystery. But this was a unique situation, and Jesus was finding his way about by saying, "Oh, really? Does it have to be the Roman imperial game of the few exploiting the many, using state-sponsored violence and religious collaboration to obtain economic advantage, power, and comfort?" No. Jesus says it doesn't have to be this way. When he fed, forgave, and healed people, he was breaking all the rules of the game. And he got crucified for it. And the point of Mark is, the women were getting it, and the disciples, the men, weren't. And at the resurrection, Jesus vindicated Jesus' way of the cross. The way of the cross is not some sort of atonement theory where Jesus pays off a supernatural being like God or the devil, a bookkeeping event. The way of the cross says, oh, really? Could it be otherwise? Resurrection vindicates Jesus' way of questioning the dominant paradigm. Remember that bumper sticker? Question the dominant paradigm, or subvert the dominant paradigm even. That's what Jesus was doing, and he got in trouble for it. They crucified him for it. They called him a rebel, an insurrectionist. The resurrection blesses his cross and everything that leads up to it. And now we say two more things. Jesus lives. Jesus lives here and now. And the third thing, Jesus calls us to follow him. His cross is not a substitutionary atonement where he dies in our place. Now he calls us to follow him and to die with him. Because Jesus' reign, the reign of God, in which he is Messiah, Christ, King, is one of self-sacrificial love, of giving to the point of dying for the other, especially the other not like me. That's what getting it means. It means I understand that human life is not a problem to be solved, and it's not a mystery to get cynical about. It's a unique situation in which we must learn to find our way about. And we do that by loving, caring for our neighbor, even to the point of dying for them. Yes, the way of the cross is the way of life, and Easter is all about affirming that. Okay, my friends, it's been a long 8 days. I've really enjoyed just being able to talk about the Gospel of Mark, my favorite gospel. We'll maybe do some more through the year. So stay tuned and ask yourself, like the women, are we getting it? And if we are getting it, if we do understand what's going on, sort of, kind of, are we living in faith and trust, or terror and amazement? And what are we telling others? How shall we tell them? Good questions. Let's keep exploring them. Take care, aloha, and see you soon.